it'll harm you more to feel like, what if? You know what I mean? I should have, I could have. That will harm you more than I tried and it didn't work. Yeah. People think that I tried and it didn't work is more harmful because it looks bad, they're embarrassed or whatever, but I'd rather be embarrassed than have that feeling of, what if? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Conversations with myself, Francis Koh. Yet again, we have another amazing show again. We've got him, ladies and gentlemen. We have got him. It was hard work to get him. We had to go to a prison set in Gloucester, found him there. We had to beat him at basketball. He wasn't happy. Did he even do the press-ups?
Yeah, I did my press-ups.
Actually, he did. One of your guys didn't want to do it. But is here, ladies and gentlemen. Please allow me to welcome the one and only Mr. Junior.
Thank you, man.
What's happening, boss? Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for inviting me on, man.
First and foremost, I was not expecting the sharp trim and everything like that.
So. Hey, come on, man. You told me there was cameras here. What do you want me to do, man? You know what I mean? I had to get fresh.
Bruv, you live fresh. We appreciate you. We appreciate the work you do. When did acting start from you?
I'll say that I can't tell you the time when it started because I always wanted to do acting, but the time when I really started to kind of, let's say, chase the dream of acting, it all came by chance, to be fair. Sometimes the opportunity meets, I don't even say preparation because I didn't really prepare. I just had the will to do it, but the opportunity met the will to do it, and then it just happened, and now I'm here, you know. I started off doing some, I want to say short films, like music video films with Rapman. So big up to Rapman because he just called me randomly one day and was like, "Yo, June, I'm filming this thing called Blue Story. I think you'll be dope for it." I was like, "Bro, what in the world made you call me to do that? Do you know what I mean? Like to be an actor in your..." So you're just like, "Bro, I think you'll be dope in it." And I'd never spoken to him about acting before. So sometimes I just see that as like the stars aligning for me to start this journey, you know. So big up to Rapman, to be fair, you know.
Let me just make sure I'm getting this right. Before Blue Story.
Yeah. Sorry. Let me explain it properly.
Okay, yeah.
Not Blue Story, the film. There was a YouTube version of Blue Story.
Okay.
Years ago, 2014, 2015. So it was a 3-part trilogy. And so started off with obviously just part 1. And I thought, yeah, that would probably be it. But it was so dope. I was telling him like, "Yo, this is like, the script is dope. This whole concept is crazy. Like, this has to be like, you need to do a part 2. It weren't even like talks of a film by then. It was just like, you need to do a part 2. It was like, yeah, you know, got to see the reaction on YouTube. You know, like, I wasn't really into like YouTube and all that then. Like, I might watch a video on YouTube now and again, but understanding like you have to get the reaction from people to obviously, that gives you the fire to want to do more. Do you know what I mean? So he was like, yeah, obviously if it does well and all the rest of it, boom, boom, boom. So like, you know, it got a couple 100,000 views if I'm correct. So I think that was one of the biggest things he'd done till then, you know, because obviously everyone in our area, in our local area knew Rapman. You know, he'd been doing rapping for ages. I always knew him as a rapper growing up. And, you know, I think that might have been like the biggest thing he'd done till then. And then he called me like, yeah, we're going to do a part 2. And then that one had, like, I don't know, maybe a couple million views or 1 million views or so.
Ladies and gentlemen, he said a couple million views, like it's nothing.
Boy.
Jesus.
And then he done a part 3 and that one blew up as well. And then it just became a trilogy and everyone was just watching the whole trilogy. And that kind of blew up into like something really big on YouTube at the time. And like people would stop me and be like, "Hey, you're the guy in Blue Story." That's when I knew, like, oh man, like people, like there's a lot of people watching this. Do you know what I mean? Because before I never experienced that type of like people stopping you to say, "Oh, they saw you on YouTube." You know what I mean? It was a weird thing to me. Like, but from there, that's why I started to understand, oh wow, like you're reaching people from like West London, even outside of London. Do you know what I mean? Like watching this, and then it just became one of those things where he did a couple of other, like, I don't know how to describe what it is, what he does. Like, you know, the rapping the story, narrating the story through rap.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm acting it out.
Yeah, so it's like a performance, like a stage performance, but on camera.
Yeah, you could call it that. You could call it that. So it's like a short film kind of, but with him narrating it through rap and obviously music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah. So I think it's still on YouTube now, so you can go and have a look, you know. So we started with that, with obviously Blue Story, the trilogy, and then I did a couple other ones with him. And like from there, people started to trust he's a good storyteller, and that whole concept of like rapping the story was like different and new, and people loved it. It got a few million views here and there. So I think that's where the whole love of like being in front of the camera and all that type of thing like came, because before I was the kind of person.
So before 2014,
yeah,
before you got that call from Rap Man,
yeah,
no camera work, no nothing.
Nothing.
What was the relationship? Because what I'm trying to get at to you now is that the fact that he trusted you to call you and he saw that, because a lot of people, what we don't understand is how we interact with others on a day-to-day basis might have a major impact, something great later on down the line.
You're right.
Because what we then do is we just mess it up. We think, just him in it, or just her in it.
Yeah.
How important is it as individuals to carry ourselves in a manner that we always remember we're representing ourselves and our future selves?
It's very important, because basically when we was filming, I don't know if it was Blue Story 2 or 1, but there was a time when, you know, I was supposed to meet him. Let's say it was like 7 o'clock in the evening, and I was like basically in a 50-50 mind frame, like, do I even want to do this anyway? Like, some YouTube video, like, what the hell do I care about that? Do you know what I mean, kind of thing. But because of my relationship with Rap Man, like, he's from our area, like, he was an older guy, and like, he's always like been a person who would like say good things to you and like have a positive impact on you, if that makes sense. You know, sometimes the older guys from your area can have a negative impact on you. He always had a positive impact on me. Do you know what I mean? So, and I respected him. Do you know what I mean? So that whole thing with like, June, come and do this for me, it was just weird to me. So like in the moment where I was like, let me just tell him I'm not coming, I'm too busy, do you know what I mean? In that moment, something came to me like, what on earth was it that made him ask me to do this anyway? There's got to be something in this. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just, there's other people from our area that are actual actors that he could have called and probably would have done it. Do you know what I mean? So for him to say, I want you to do it, and even when I almost tried to convince him out of wanting me to do it, and he wasn't having it. He was like, nah, June, trust me. I was like, I don't know, man, but all right, let's do it. You know what I mean? And so in that second when I was actually gonna call him and say, bro, I can't do it, I'm not gonna come today. So that whole thought came to my brain of, there must be something in it. And I was just like, I called him like, listen, I'm running a bit late, I'll be there soon now. And, you know, as they say, the rest is history, you know what I mean? Like, that was just Rap Man, one other guy with a camera. You know, it wasn't no big production, it weren't no, you know, you're gonna get paid loads of money or nothing like that. It was just a local rapper, let's say, with his vision, and his vision included me. And so, you know.
And that's how it starts sometimes. Like, I find in our journey, what we've been going through, is a lot of people are judging us based on what we have now.
Yeah.
It's like, but very few got the insight to say, you know what, in 2 years' time, in 6 months' time, or where can these people be? Because now you got that opportunity, Rap Man, now you got that, you can call him now, he'll pick up. Yeah. Whereas someone who jumps on the board now, like, nah, you go through management, go through my agent, go through this. So what I'm trying to get at is trust and support while everything is at its infancy, because it's gonna grow. And if it doesn't grow, what harm is that gonna make to you? Yeah.
it will harm you more to feel like, what if? You know what I mean? I should have, I could have. That will harm you more than the, I tried and it didn't work. Yeah. People think that I tried and it didn't work is more harmful because it looks bad, they're embarrassed or whatever, but I'd rather be embarrassed than have that feeling of, what if? You know what I mean? That what if feeling is worse, because I've had what ifs before, you know? And I always said to myself, I'm not gonna do that again. I'm not gonna allow myself to have a what if feeling again. So, you know, I think that was just doing that and seeing the reaction to it allowed me to understand this thing about making art for other people to experience and enjoy, you know what I mean? And to get a message from. Because, you know, Blue Story, of course, it's like setting the hood in the ends and all that stuff, and like, you know, it's got the typical road man, ends man, whatever you want to call it, but there's a message in it, you know what I mean? Even in the YouTube version of Blue Story I'm talking about, there was a message in it. If you watch the trilogy, you'll see the message in it, you know? It's like, there is no real winner, you know? There's this, something that's glamorized, but, you know, if you watch it, you'll understand straight away.
Unless you own the property you live in, unless you own that shop, just keep in mind, you can be relocated as of when.
Yeah, for sure.
And there is no real winners, because we know how it goes. You either go where they say you will go, or you behind bars, or there is no winners. Let's fast forward to Blue Story, the movie comes out.
Yeah.
Did you know, obviously you must have an inkling of how big the movie is, but did you think it would be as big as it was?
I say yes and no.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because like, obviously I knew Blue Story from the trilogy YouTube version, and like literally I would be onto rap, man. Bro, this needs to be a movie. This needs to be a movie. This needs to be like, because it was just so sick. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was just, I just never experienced nothing like that on YouTube watching. Like, I never saw that type of creativity before. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like a song. Like you could listen to it in your AirPods without seeing the visuals and still think it's sick. You could watch the visuals without the audio and be like, that's sick. Do you know what I mean? That type of creativity don't just come, like, it's rare, do you know what I mean? Like, of course, there's a lot of talented people, but to get that magic just like that, it's just like, you know what I mean? It's not easy, do you know what I mean? So I was like to him, no, this is sick. Like, so for me, you know, obviously speaking to him from the early days, I knew that his ambition was to make it a film. But the jump from making YouTube videos to a major motion picture it's a big leap, you know what I mean? So he obviously was doing his own work personally. That's why I give him too much ratings, because, you know, he could have just lived off that YouTube hype and just, do you know what I mean? But he always knew that he was going to be a filmmaker.
And there's a lot of work that goes on in the background.
A lot of work. So when I would speak to him, like intervals, like throughout time, like, I would speak to him and he'd be like, yeah, I'm writing this other stuff, I'm writing this, I'm writing that, you know, I'm speaking with these people, I'm gonna have a meeting with these people to try and get money for funding and boom, 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 and all the rest of it. So I knew he was always working on it, do you know what I mean? And like, so to me, that inspired me to see that, oh, he's doing these behind the scenes, and you know, like I would speak to him and he'd give me an update, like, yeah, I had a meeting with these people and yeah, you know what I mean, all the rest of it. But it was, I think coming into like 2018, sometime in 2018, I spoke with him and he was like, yeah. I spoke with BBC, Paramount. And I was like, what?
I didn't even know BBC had Paramount's.
Like, I just said, how did that link happen? Yeah. He was like, bro, they both wanted it. You know, there's a business behind it. They made it happen. They're going to give man funding for the film and all the rest of it. I was like, whoa. How was that? You know what I mean? And like, it weren't even a thing where he's like, yeah, you're going to be in it for sure. He would like, and I understood that, because he was like, yo, because it's Paramount, BBC, June, like, they want, I won't say the names, but they want, you know,
known black British actors in it. So I was like, alright, cool, man. You know,
you were just happy.
Yeah, I was.
One of the
Bro, I'm happy to just like, you know what I'm saying. I was just like, bro, just get me a little cameo or something, bro. Like, you know, just a little joking on the phone. It's like, don't worry about it, June. You get a little cameo or something at the very minimum for sure. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I was just happy for that. I was just happy for that because, as I say, like, the only things that I'd done was the things with him from before. So like, I didn't expect that. Oh yeah, like I should get a role in there for sure or whatever. Do you know what I mean? And so even fast forward into how I actually got the role, it was like I never had an agent or none of this stuff. I wasn't working as an actor in any way, shape or form. You know what I mean? So he just told me, "Oh, listen, there's auditions coming up for Blue Story." Right. So I was like, "All right, sick." He's like, "Obviously you ain't got an agent, all the rest of it, but I'm gonna get your name down. So yeah, you're gonna come audition for a role." I was like, sick. I was like, what, I'm gonna audition in front of like real people and that, like, do you know what I mean? Like, I was asking him, he's like, bro, you're gonna be in an audition room. It's proper audition, like, it's not a joke. Like,
these times you've never been to audition room.
I've never been in an audition room before. Never. So like, to me, I'm like, whoa, I'm telling my sister, I'm telling my mum, like, I'm telling my dad, like, hey, listen, I'm gonna audition for this. I'm just gassed to audition. I'm just gassed to go into an actual place where it's a professional setting. People are gonna watch me audition. Do you know what I mean? And judge me. Like, it was just weird to me. It was a foreign concept to me. Do you know what I mean? So I was just gassed for that, to like do something different in life, if that makes sense. So yeah. So then the auditions came around. You'd never believe it. I nearly missed my audition because it was just so far away from when he told me to when the actual audition was. He might have told me about the auditions in, I don't know, August, and then the audition was in like November. And so like, it wasn't like, oh, in a couple of weeks time, it was like months away. And me, like an idiot, I wasn't as organized as I am now. I understand how important everything is. I didn't have it in my calendar as a alarm.
Yeah.
So I had it in my calendar, but I didn't have like an alarm on the calendar to remind me. So I'm going about my normal day. My sister's called me like, oh, June, how's the audition going? I'm like, huh? What are you talking about? She's like, yeah, the audition's today, right? I'm like, no, it's not today. What are you talking about? She's like, June, you told me the audition was today. Let's just say, for example, it's the 11th.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? So I've looked in my calendar. I'm like, oh, it's today. But I never had the reminder, like the alarm. So I'm like, oh my God. So like, so the audition's in central London, yeah? It's in Piccadilly. And in a place called Spotlight, so like actors will know the place. So, and I'm in, where am I? I think I'm in like East London somewhere, and it's like peak traffic times. And I'm like, oh my God. So I've got like an hour to get there. So I'm ringing Ratman like, hey, bro, I'm gonna be late for this audition. He's like, oh, June, you let me down, bro, man. I'm like, oh, no, bro, can I come tomorrow? Like, or like, I'm gonna make my way now. He's like, bro, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. There's like loads of people here. Like, your time was between this and this time, whatever it was. And so, June, man, I gotta call you back, bro, because like he was in and out of the audition room seeing people at the time that I called him. And so then he's just, I gotta call you back, and just beep, beep, beep. So, oh God. I rang my sister like, Debs, it's today. Like, because I've had to lock her off, like, let me quickly ring Ratman and see if I can, you understand? But this is a professional thing. This ain't no, just me and the man them creating something. This is a professional thing. You got a casting agent, the film's producers there, you know what I mean, sort of thing. So it's not like he can just be like, oh yeah, come, like, you know what I mean? He was like, bro, like, I gave you your time and everything to come. Like, I've told them that, yo, I want them to see you for this. Because obviously the casting agents probably didn't want me because they didn't know me, but they were probably like, listen, we got, I don't want to say names.
Seasoned actors.
Yeah, but we got this man coming, we got this man, we're talking about, do you know what I mean? So I know that energy was there.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh God, what am I gonna do? So I just zoom in. I've got to like Waterloo. And I'm late now already. The time for my audition is gone. let's say it was 1 o'clock. I'm still in Waterloo at 1 o'clock. And I haven't learned a word of the sides. Not a word. Because I'm still thinking it's long time. You know what I mean? It's a long way away. I'll start rehearsing, I don't know, a couple of weeks before or something. Big mistake. And so, so I'm in Waterloo at the time of the audition. And I'm just like, man, what can I do? I called the Uber. The Uber's taking ages, messing around, all the rest of it. I've had to get into a black cab. I jumped in a black cab and I'm like sweaty because I'm running from one place to another to like, I'm running. So I've jumped into a black cab, I'm sweating. The sides are on my email somewhere. So I'm trying to go through my emails. I've got two months worth of emails. I'm like, where the hell are these sides? You know what I mean? Like, it's not coming up when I type in Blue Story. I'm like, what's going on? Like, I'm trying to find it. I'm in the cab now, I found my sides. I'm trying to learn my lines. Cab driver's trying to talk to me. What's happening, mate? Where you off to? I'm trying to be polite at the same time. Yeah, I'm just on the way to audition. He's like, yeah, I get a lot of actors. He's trying to have a full-blown conversation. I'm like, hey, buddy, please. I'm like trying to learn these lines right now. Everything's on the line for me. Like, I'm telling him that, like, please just allow me for
Slow
a second.
down.
Yeah. So he's like, all right, mate, all right, sorry, kind of thing. I'll get you there, kind of vibe. And now he's doing his thing to try and get me there. I've explained to him the situation basically in just short. Like, listen, I was meant to be there at 1, all the rest of it. It's bloody 1:20 now. Do what you can for me, please, to get me there and boom, 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 all the rest of it. He's like, kind of shut up and realize, oh, you know, it's not one of those have a conversation with the passenger type things. Just get him there. So he's doing his thing. I can see him kind of weaving and I'm like, yes, lovely. And I'm like trying to learn the lines and he says to him and I'm trying to, how I would posture and, you know what I mean? I've never had an audition before. I'm just, how am I gonna say this and yes and no? And I'm just doing weird stuff, do you know what I mean? In the cab, I'm like, man, this ain't gonna go well. Like in my brain, this is not gonna go well, but I'm still gonna go. Do you know what I mean? So like, I've learned in my lines now. I ain't gonna lie to you, the panic of all of it, I don't think I learned anything in that cab. It's just like, I just saw the words and it was almost like I had dyslexia. It's like the words were jumping. Yeah. The words were jumping on the screen. I was like, man, this is crazy. So he's got me there. I've paid him now and it's like £40 or something. I'm just paid the guy and now I'm running through like, you know, Piccadilly to get to Spotlight. I'm trying to find it on Google Maps. All this time I should be like learning my lines. And I'm sweating like a dog. And I've just got there, found the place, gone in, give my name at the desk. So I could see that the lady at the desk looked like, your time's gone. But you know, it's not her job to tell me no. So she's, oh yeah, well the room's through there, go ahead, all the rest of it. And I've gone in. Just like, and when I say the stars align, the stars aligned for me, for this whole thing. And so like, wherever it gets to, I'll always remember like these moments, the stars aligning for me. Because I've walked in there sweating like a dog and I'm seeing the who's who of like, I won't say the who's who, but I'm seeing a lot of actors there. Yeah. And like, I'm looking at them as like a lot of young black guys just like me. And they're all like, got their sides, you know, in the paper, you know, reading and looking around. They're all looking very confident, waiting for there. And I'm just I'm trying to air myself out. I'm smelling and that. And they're just, everyone's looking at me like, kind of, you know, like, kind of.
Glad it's not me.
And it was just, that kind, you can just see that, you know what I mean? Anyway, the casting agents walked outside and she's like, oh, Junior, glad you're here. Ratman said you wasn't gonna come. I was like, no, I'm here. She was like, you got your sides? And I was like, yeah, but they're on my screen. I can't see my screen properly. I just waffling, do you know what I mean? She's like, all right, here, give me the sides. She's like, look, don't worry about it, just don't stress. Obviously someone else took your slot, but you'll go after, I don't know, she pointed to the guy or whatever. And I'm like, all right, cool, thanks for that.
Had extra time.
Extra time. So I'm there now. I'm reading my sides. I'm seeing all these guys go in and come out. Like, so you can imagine I'm trying to learn my lines and I'm just looking, I'm seeing the guys coming out, they're all looking, you know, and they're all actors, they all know each other, giving each other five, and good luck, mate, and you know, this guy's going in, yes, brother, you know, that, and I don't know none of these guys, you know what I mean? I was trying to learn my lines, all the rest of it. Anyway, I've just done my absolute best to get the lines down, And I went in, and like Ratman was there, and you know the producer of the film's there, and the casting agent's there, and I've walked in, and I've shook the producer's hand, I've gone to shake Ratman's hand.
It's like,
Rat. You know, it is. And remember, I'm like, but I've kind of like, the sweat's kind of gone now.
Yeah.
You get me? Because I've had a good hour or so. Do you know what I mean? So I've gone to shake Ratman's hand. He's giving me one of those, you know, like he's being professional, but he's looking at me like, bro, kind of vibe. Like, how are you coming late? You're making me look bad, kind of vibe. Like, I've told him I want to see you, and like, do you know what I mean? But he ain't said it, but I can feel it in the 1.5 seconds of the handshake and the look in our eyes. I see that's what he's saying to me. You get me? So now I'm just trying to let nothing throw me off. Do you know what I mean? So, and before I went in, my little sister was just saying to me, look, June, just do your best kind of vibe. You know, she's in uni she was in uni in Cardiff at the time. No, Swansea, sorry, at the time. And she was just giving me like some gas and some good words like, yo, bro, just go for it. Do you know what I mean? Don't let nothing throw you off. Don't, do you know what I mean? If it's meant to be for you, it's gonna be for you. Do you know what I mean? Kind of vibe. Don't have this mindset of, oh, like, it's not for me. I'm just doing it just to do it and all this. Just have a mindset that maybe something could happen. So I try to keep that at the back of my brain. Do you know what I mean? So while all of these things are happening, like me not being able to get Uber, having to get in the black cab, and black cab's just talking and trying to find the place when I get out the cab, and all these things, that's really like compressing my brain into thinking, oh, this is just a bad day. I just kind of used it as fuel. Do you know what I mean? Like, use it as fuel to kind of boost me. So like, I just had that in the back of me. So I did my audition, I just gave it my all. Do you know what I mean? I just gave it my all, and just, I don't know how to explain it. When I did my audition, like, everyone's face was smiling.
Okay.
So I was like, all right.
But you got that presence about you as well, though.
But I'm a little bit, I won't say confident in that now, but I'm kind of understand that now from doing a few different projects and knowing a bit more about the game. Do you know what I mean? I'm no expert, but I know way more now than I did then.
So they saw a Ratman, saw you, the raw talent, energy, which sometimes, this is actually a great point, we find it very, very, very difficult as human beings to look in the mirror and recognize our own talents, but other people just see it.
Yeah.
And sometimes I got a few friends that I know, even sometimes it reflects back on me, people like, Francis, you're so talented, you did. And I'm looking at, I can see, but they just can't see it. So in your case, it took all these people to see your talent, but credit to you for recognizing it and running with it. Because a lot of people, because they can't see it, they're like, whatever, innit?
Yeah, for
and
sure.
on a block. What's interesting in what you said, Ratman tells you you're going to audition. And you was gassed about that. And a lot of people be like, I have to audition. Why do I have to audition? I should just get the part. So that is quite, and I could see the energy, the smile in you, like you was happy. What is that like, just being appreciative of the next opportunity without thinking what you should have, or, because a lot of us are very entitled to. We believe, because I'm such and such. I know you. In your case, you would have been like, I've been calling you up saying this movie should happen. Now what, you want me to audition? I should just, what is it like to just humble yourself and really appreciate the small little things that we're given?
It's very important for your own self, so that like you can maneuver better in those in that mindset of being appreciative. In my experience of life, anytime I've felt entitled to something, it's always been a bit sour. I never felt like retrospectively now, I can see and say, yo, I never got what I was supposed to get out of that experience because I was entitled. I thought that I was meant to have that. Do you know what I mean? I thought that was mine by God-given right. Do you know what I mean? But the whole Blue Star experience, from being told by Ratman, oh yeah, I'm gonna try and get you in the audition room. And even when I say he said I was going to audition. He still said, I'm going to try and get you in the audition room. It weren't even you're going to audition for sure, my boy. It was, I'm going to try and get you in for them to see you. So, but just that, it was the whole point, the whole fact that it was BBC and Paramount. I was like, rah, I'm going to be mixing, like, rubbing shoulders with these kind of people. It's just, you know what I mean? It wasn't natural to me. So I was obviously naturally appreciative of that. Do you know what I mean? I don't know anyone who could feel like they should have had that by right. You know what I mean? I don't feel that's a normal person could have had that anyway. So I feel like naturally people will just feel that way, like, oh, I'm appreciative and all the rest of it. So yeah.
Fast forward into the movie. Prior to the 3 projects you'd done with them, no acting experience.
None.
No acting classes.
Yeah, so I skipped that bit. So when he told me that I was gonna audition, I took acting classes.
So that was in what, 7 months?
Yeah, so like, let's say he told me, all right, I'm gonna try and get you in the audition room, but he's like, June, you gotta be ready though. You know, so I kind of jumped a bit, but in that conversation he was like, June, you gotta be ready though. Like, you can't just come in there thinking like, you're just gonna read the lines, you know what I mean? You gotta make sure, you know, that you're ready for that. And he was like, just try and take some acting classes or something. I was like, yeah, you're right.
Did you take them seriously, the acting classes?
Definitely. So like, basically I would take like blocks of acting classes that were costing me money at the time, do you know what I mean? And I was spending money.
Ladies and gentlemen, he said money at the time. So he doesn't wanna say the price, but when the man says money, he didn't say bit of change, he said money at the time, yeah? Basically, what I'm trying to say is he invested in himself.
Yeah, no, for
Don't
sure.
hold back.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. That's definitely what I call it. Because if I never done those acting classes, there was things that I wouldn't have understood and I may have flopped my audition. Do you know what I mean? So in them acting classes, it was like audition techniques and stuff. It was like some like screen acting and then reviewing your performance. So those things kind of like, it gave me some knowledge, some little gems that I wouldn't have had before, if that makes sense. So those little gems helped to give, you know, it just gave me something that I never had before, if that makes sense. It was all very beginner stage, but even though it was beginner stage, it was knowledge, do you know what I mean? So it gave me some knowledge to be able to say, all right, I understand a few things here about cameras and all the rest of it and how to present myself in an audition. So so I took those for a good few months beforehand, and I remember Ratman asking me, oh, you taking classes? I'm like, yeah, bro, like I'm going every Tuesday and Thursday. He was like, dope. I like that, June, like, dope. And like, you know, just little things like that, a man just saying to you, dope, like, it just made me smile within myself because we come from like Deptford, which is in Lewisham Borough. We come like, it's not, people, you know, people are not actors and all this stuff. Do you know what I mean? So like, just to talk with someone about something different, apart from that hood rubbish and all this type of stuff, like, was good. Do you know what I mean? And then to go to somewhere which was so out of my comfort zone was good for me also. That it was my development as a human being, not just acting or whatever. It was my development as a human being, seeing other people in the acting classes, trying to chase the dream of acting also. Yeah, it just gave me something. It just gave me, it's hard to say in words or to even quantify it in any way, but it just gave me something that I never had before, basically. So yeah, I took the classes and that did give me a little bit of a boost for sure.
And then Mother was born. Do you know how well do you think you played that role? Because everyone that's seen that knows you smashed it. Do you know that? Do you feel that? Or do you, in your head, think, I could have done better, I missed this, I missed that?
You know what it is? For me, like, I'm happy with the film.
Yeah.
But if you're asking me about me, I'm always going to be critical of myself. So I'm like, yo, I could have done a bit better there. If that was me now, I'd do that scene differently. Do you know what I mean? So, but I don't know an actor that's not going to say that, to be fair.
Me, I'll be gassed.
Yeah, but
I'll be like, I smashed it.
You say that now, but when you see other actors on set and they're killing their role too.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So like,
But remember, you just jumped into that.
yeah, yeah. But
So they've had years.
yeah, for sure. And I always understood that. And like people would say that to me, like, June, listen, you're gonna get better and better and better as long as you keep applying yourself. And I'll be like, yeah, but I'm talking about on set. So like, we're about to do a scene, and like, I was like really cool with Cali Best, and he played Killy. Like, so
Amazing
we had
actor. He was your second,
kind of my second in command, younger kind of thing. So like, we had a good relationship on set, and also Eric as well, who played Switcher.
the other side.
Because I know him from before acting also, because he used to come to Deptford to stay at his cousin's house like back in the day when he was like 15 years old, 14. And so like around the area, it'd be like this guy who's from like straight, you know, back then when you're young, it's far away. It's like, oh, this guy from like Southwest London used to come, and obviously his cousin, me and his cousin were really cool. So like when we used to play out, you know, on bikes and all that, and chilling in the park and all that, like he would come around, and so like, summer holidays, would spend it together, like playing, chilling and whatnot. So I never knew him as an actor or nothing like that. Like I knew that he went to Brit school, but it was just like, just
another
school. Just, you know what I mean?
A school far away from us.
Exactly, it didn't mean nothing like to me at the time, I didn't know. So it was just like fate that like, rah, this guy who used to come to the end, stars aligning. Because it was like, I'm like getting, I don't want to say coach, but I'm getting help from like people just like me who understand me. Do you know what I mean? So like, they're saying to me that, bro, don't overdo it. Don't. And I'm like, I'll give them like my scene, and they'll be like, hey, bro, you were doing too much. Like, you know what I mean? Especially Cali, he's like
he's hands-on.
So he's like, hey, bro, like, nah, man, relax. Like, you're doing too much. You know this. Like, this is not. Forget the lines. Like, just do it. You know what I mean? So like, all these things was like whipping me into shape whilst on set. So it's like I was doing acting classes a bit whilst I was on set. Do you know what I mean? So like, big up to them too, like, because they really helped me. Do you know what I mean? I always told them as well, hey, man, hey, if it weren't for you, man, hey, I might have had a different type of experience here. Do you know what I mean? So that was very helpful from them and for me. Do you know what I mean? So I say my experience on set, like, was enhanced by the fact that it was like the type of film it is, it's people that are just like me. Do you know what I mean? And so, like, obviously speaking to actors afterwards, they would tell me, like, listen, my first job, I was filming in Scotland and I was just the only man them there kind of vibe. And bro, no one weren't talking to me. I was just in my room, like, just chilling and waiting for it was my time to go on set. Like, you're lucky, like, you got man them hair, it's like a vibe, do you know what I mean? So I was like, oh, okay. So I started to understand a bit more. Okay. And like, to me, this is what I called like the stars aligning, because I think if in a more difficult environment, I don't know how I would have, you know, I always believe in myself, but how would I have managed? Do you know what I mean? How would I have performed? Do you know what I mean? Would it be different? Would I have had the same confidence? Would my confidence be a bit less? But I always went into my scenes with a good amount of confidence. Do you know what I mean? Like, because I'd shared it with the man. Them like, yo, I'm gonna say it like this. I'm gonna do it like this. I'm gonna rare. This is how we're gonna. And like, they would be like, sick, don't, or nah, this, and so I always had that confidence already. You know, obviously everything's subjective, so it's just their opinion anyway. But to get opinion of people who have done stuff and are reputable, it just gave me that, you know, that to keep going forward and to keep giving more and more and more and developing, as I said, whilst I was on set.
Because the one thing I believe in, because you saying the stars aligned, I am a strong believer, if you embark on a mission, good or bad, the universe got you. You know, like if you go out there looking for trouble,
trouble gonna find you.
It will find you.
Yeah.
The same way, if you go out there on a mission for greatness, people are just gonna come out of nowhere, like, like, okay. But if you just sit at home and just twiddling your thumb and
that's it,
I'm gonna be rich one day. No, it doesn't work like that. You have to get out there and do the work. What I want to know to a lot of people, like I've been on set, you've been on set. what is it like being on set, and what is expected? Because nowadays, I say this because nowadays today, everyone's got a camera.
Yeah.
You know, they've got their phone. It's just so easy now to have a camera and produce something and make something. And then we see the rewards that comes with acting. But a lot of people still don't understand there are rules that need to be applied when you're on set. As you said, for you, it was lucky you got on set with a mandem. He was very familiar, was comfortable. But what is expected, what mannerism do you think we should carry forward for those of us, including myself, who are not yet made as main actors yet, to be on set? Like what kind of attitude do we go with?
I think like the kind of attitudes are like, they're transferable between like any type of industry, to be fair. You know, like application, you know, punctuality, you know, these things, like, it sounds very generic, but it's important. Do you know what I mean? These are like the base level of, or the foundation level of whatever it is you're trying to build. Do you know what I mean? So being prepared, for sure. You know, I can't go, as I told you, like for my audition, I wasn't prepared. And like, that's why I believe the stars aligned, saying to me, hey, this, if you want to do this, this could be something for you if you want to do it. It's like, whatever you want to call it. Some people don't believe in God, whatever it is, but the universe is saying to me, hey, look at that road over there. You know, it's like a dirt road that goes into like a paved road. So like, but it was a road, if that makes sense. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? You could see that there was a pathway, you know? So like, I saw the dirt road from like the YouTube version of Blue Story, and it turned into a paved road. And it's just for me to keep on walking, or to ignore it and think, oh, there's a better road over there where there's loads of bushes, you know what I mean? But here there was a paved road, it's just for me to go on it, you know what I mean? So that's how it felt like for me, you know? So just making sure I was prepared. Like now, when I get any type of job, I'm making sure that I'm prepared for sure, making sure that I'm there on time. I need to be like ready, do you know what I mean? I can't have anything on top of me. I need to be on top of everything. That's my approach to stuff now. So like, for me, that's how I look at stuff. Some people can just go to places and just knock something out of the park in a second. Hey,
that's their time.
That's them, you know, that's good. But for me, I want to make sure that I'm ready, on top of stuff, punctual, I'm there. And so this is the kind of things that in this industry now, this is what I'm working with. These are like the basic rules that I'm working with in this road that I'm on now.
No, it's a beautiful thing, and you're doing an amazing thing. Let's go back to Blue Story.
Yeah.
The film. Amazing work. You've done it, killed it. It was at the premiere, saw everything. What we know now, I believe, hindsight is a beautiful thing. It was a beautiful thing that it happened.
Yeah.
But at the time, for you being inside the camp, when all that negativity came out on the film, when they tried to ban it, what was that like for you going through it?
You know what it is, yeah?
Because we know like, from us, we know the story behind that. We know there was no truth in it.
Yeah.
It was just their way of trying to shut down greatness.
Yeah, for sure.
This time they want to do. They probably got the real reviews from behind it, like, oh, this film's gonna bring about.
Of course,
we can't have this.
Of course.
Let's try silence it.
Yeah.
That's what I believe. That's my opinion. I'm sticking to it.
There's always politics that you don't see. Do you know what I mean? And behind the scenes politics, but talking about what we could all see, do you know what I mean? They said some guys had a fight and someone was stabbed going to watch Blue Story. Okay. Does that mean the film should be banned? You know? I don't think so.
Well, if that's the case, then ban every other video game out there.
Look, there's how people go to watch all these gangster films, you know, Italian mafia, gangster, all these type of stuff with organised crime and all the rest of it, and, you know, there's no problem. Do you know what I mean? They don't shut it down. They don't say, oh, there's a lot of people shipping cocaine, so we're going to stop that film that shows these cocaine dealers in it. They don't do that, you know, it all comes out. So to me, it didn't make sense. But, you know, when there's a certain stigma, you know, they're saying the film's got gangs and all the rest of it, and it's, you know, encouraging gangs to come to the cinema. It's just encouraging young boys to go and watch a film in the cinema. You know, they can make some bad decisions and have fights with other boys that they see at the cinema, but it's not that they watched the film and the film told them, hey, go out and do this. So the film shouldn't have been blamed for that. You know what I mean? But, you know, the people who run these institutions don't understand. They don't have the mindset that you and I have. Do you know what I mean? So to them, it was probably easier to shut the film down and all the rest of it. But you can't stop greatness.
They helped it. As I said, hindsight is a beautiful thing.
That's it. So I remember, like, you know, speaking with Ratman in our chat, and you know, he was like saying, you know, they're trying to mess us up and, you know, all the rest of it. And there was a lot of, like, you know, a bit down, do you know what I mean? Everyone was like, we're supposed to have like a certain amount of screens, and they've knocked off like half the screens that we're supposed to have. All these things, like you know, it messes with like your numbers, you know, like your first day numbers, first week numbers, and all the rest of all of these type of things. What the company Paramount and all that look at, you know, to see how well the film's doing, and that all obviously reflects on Ratman, who's made the film. Do you know what I mean? So like his
future projects
and his reputation's on the line as well. But for things that are out of his control, he's made a dope film. Just allow people to go and watch it. You know what I mean? If you're the cinema people, you should be sorting out your security. It's not the film. Do you know what I mean? So that's how we all felt at the time. But then, you know, you can't stop greatness. Like, there was loads of reviews with, you know, middle-aged white men and women like saying, oh, the film, from what it looked like on, you know, like on the advert and all the rest of it, it's not that. It's a very beautiful film. And, you know, all of these reviews that we were getting, you know, it was on like Good Morning Britain and all the rest of it. Ratman went on with one of our castmates. So like, you know, everyone tried to represent the film in the best way possible. And so like, in the end, they just had to concede and say, yo, we're going to allow this film to be shown. Gave back some of the screens that they took away. Not even all of the screens, you know. If they took away 100 screens, they only gave back maybe 50 or 40.
They didn't want to lose face.
So it was all very like sour anyway, but people still came out.
In numbers.
People came out, and I couldn't believe it. Like, you know, I was with one of my classmates, and we went to the cinema. We was like, come, let's go and have a look and see what it's like at the cinema. Like, you know, I'm thinking, yeah, there's going to be a few people, like, you know, you're going to, listen, the cinema was like a rave. Greenwich Odeon was like a rave.
Yeah.
Like, and I couldn't believe it. Like, literally, I couldn't, like, these people all came to see Blue Story. Like, it was mad. Like, when I've been to cinema before to watch other films that are like blockbusters and that, it weren't like that.
It weren't like that.
So I'm looking at, whoa, this is for us. And like, we would be nudging each other like, yo, like, look at that queue, look at this line. They all come to watch Blue Story. It's just madness. Like, and so we took that as, I don't know how to explain it. It's hard to say in words, but it gave us that good feeling that we've done something good. We put something good into the world, you know?
Well, and that's important, that feeling, which, as you said, you can't explain it.
Yeah.
It's, I urge people to go out there and just do whatever greatness they can so you can have that same feeling. And you want that feeling again and again.
Yeah, of course.
At this stage of your career, very young career, future's bright. Any regrets?
Yeah, I regret not chasing the dream sooner. I regret not, you know. I want to say regret because it's a yes and no with regret. It's like, I wish that I'd chased it sooner. But as I told you, you know, before 2014, I think it was, might be 2013, but let's just stick with 2014. Before Ratman gave me that call and said, hey, I want you to be in this thing that I just wrote. It's called Blue Story. I never thought I'd be an actor. You know, I loved the drama. Drama was one of my favorite classes, you know, getting to do like the exercises that you do in drama class and like all those things. But like, did I think I was going to be an actor? Nah. But it's weird because other people now say, bro, I thought you could have done something like that. Just because of the way I spoke, the way that I expressed myself. People said that, yeah, like, you know, I feel like, yeah, that was a calling for you. But I'm like, why didn't you tell me then? Like, you're telling me now, man, now I'm doing it. Like, you know what I mean? Don't do all that. But yeah, do you know what I mean? It's life. That's how life goes. But for me, I think maybe, I don't want to blame my area that I'm from, because a lot of greatness comes from my area. A lot of people are doing good things, you know, not just in this industry, but a lot of people are starting businesses and employing other people and, you know what I mean, doing good things. So I don't want to say blame the area that I'm from, but I just couldn't see it. Do you know what I mean? I just couldn't see it when I was like 16, 17. I just couldn't see what I'm doing now. I couldn't see myself doing it, but here I am.
It goes back to what we said earlier. A lot of us don't look in the mirror to really spend time, like, because if we spend a lot of time, because it's there. I believe we know who we are when we're young, because our mind are free, less responsibility, and more importantly, we have no fear. And I think a lot of us, as we get older, responsibility comes in, bills comes in, the girlfriends come in, the boyfriends come in, the parents come in, and you don't have time to work on yourself. And every second you have for yourself, you're either too tired or you remember you need to do this, you need to do that. You got this birthday party, you got this function. By the time you actually got time to yourself, you're too tired. And it just goes on and on and on. I think it's crucial that we look in the mirror and really get to know who you are. And I believe one of the simplest tests to find out who you are, it's not as simple as I say, because you have to dive deep within yourself. It's just, what makes you happy? You know, what makes you smile? Not what you're good at, because a lot of us are good at things, but it just don't make us happy. It's like, what makes you happy? And if we can run with that, if you can run with what makes you happy, especially the beauty that the times that we're living in, people have made money from things like, there's a guy that's selling air. I don't know if you heard of it. There's a guy that sells, he goes to Scotland and France, gets not as simple as this, but he gets a bottle, scoop up the air, locks it in, and he sells air. And when people buy it, it comes with this, you know, when the nozzle, you put the hose on, you inhale. Someone sells air. You know, if someone can do that, making money off that, there's nothing, and the only thing I always say, chase your dreams, do what makes you happy under one condition: don't bring harm to others. As long as it's not bringing harm to others, run with it, go with it. I agree. That's my belief, and to do what you do, hearing your story from 2014, you just, in YouTube, to seeing, you, and your professionalism. I've seen you on set. It's like, it was almost like he's done this before. And to find out it's in such a short space of time, it's amazing. Thanks, man. It really, really is amazing. Talk us through the stages of going into an audition. Because this is a word where a lot of people, and you've been through it, obviously your first audition, I think, was more learn for than most people. What is it like? From start to finish, when you walk in, when you see them, for the young actors out there who wishing and dreaming they can be in an audition room like you once was, what's the steps? How can I come out successful on the other side?
Well, so let's get it right. I've had a lot of auditions and not got the job, so I can't tell you the formula to definitely be successful, but to give your all, I can tell you for sure, which is, I think we touched on it before about preparation, having your lines down, letting it be second nature to you, not even letting it be first nature to you, having it down that good, that well, trying it in different ways, you know, and even now I'm still learning techniques and ways of doing things differently. Do you know what I mean? Even now I'm still learning. I wouldn't class myself as someone who could give advice, but the little knowledge that I do know, I can just share, if that makes sense, you know? So it's hard to just say be confident, but having confidence in yourself. But the confidence in yourself comes with how you prepare also. If you know that you've prepared in the best way you possibly can, you'll be confident in that. If you're confident in that, then you can, that's like your springboard to being able to perform. You're confident in how you've prepared, you know? So when you go in front of casting agent, producer, director, all the rest of it, they can see that and feel that, you know, even if you're doing it in the way that's not the way they want it, you came in and you executed it in the way you thought you thought was right, basically. You know what I'm saying? So, and people can feel that. They might say to you, oh, it's not really the way we want it or we envisioned it, but I like what you've done there. Can you do it a different way like this? Because I've had that before. I've had a scene and done it in a way that I thought it would be perfect. And I've gone in there and executed. I'm thinking, yeah. And they said, oh yeah, you know, that was good, but we kind of want it a bit more subtle. We kind of want it a bit more softer. We kind of want it a bit more harsher and a bit more abrasive, you know. So, and I'd already done it 1,000 times at home, thinking this is the way it's going to be. Do you know what I mean? So, but the fact of the matter is, I went in there and I was prepared to do it the way that I was going to do it, basically. But open that they could tell me to do it a different way. So, like, the first time I auditioned for something else other than Blue Story, like, I thought to myself, there's no way this audition's not going to go well, because I'd done it how many times. And that's where the first time I heard that, oh, can you do it in a different way? And I was like, oh, wow. Yeah. Oh, you know, it's like a weird thing to hear when you've already got it in your brain that this is the way it's going to be, or this is the way, because you read the script and you interpret the script the way you see it, you know what I mean? Everyone's interpretation might be different. Some things they give you a lot of direction. Some things they don't give you loads of direction. So when they don't give you loads of direction, you have to interpret it the way you feel the scene would go. And then you rehearse and you practice it that way. And so, like, for that first audition, I'd already had it in my brain one way. And then when they said, oh, they wanted it a different way, and I was like, okay, this can happen. It was like a thing that it never happened before happening. And I'm like, okay, I've got to learn on the job kind of thing. So now in 30 seconds from when it left the director's mouth, can you do it differently? I've got to think about how it can be done differently. And I've done it 100 times at home the night before, one way. Do you know what I mean? So that was like a learning curve for me. Not just having one thing set in one way. Do it differently. Play with it. And like, my actor friends would tell me this type of stuff, like, don't just have things in one way. Obviously, they've done tons more auditions than me. So they would tell me, you know, hey, bro, do it a different way. When we're doing self-tapes, they'd say, listen, that way's good. Now try it a bit more looser. Now try it a bit more firm. Like, do you know what I mean? And they'd give me the coaching, so that kind of helped me from that first audition where the director threw a curveball at me. I wanted it a different way. I didn't get the job, by the way, but it taught me loads.
You didn't get the job, but you learned.
It taught me loads.
Yes.
It taught me loads. It taught me so much, because, you know, the audition for Blue Story was, although unfamiliar to me, I see Ratman's face there, it's familiar to me, you know? So going into somewhere, the second audition, I don't know anyone here. My agent has sent me for this audition, sent me the sides, sent me, you know, the direction, and said, this is the day of your audition. This is foreign, do you know what I mean? My agent's not even there to be like, come on guy, you know, you can do it, and all. No. So that was a real learning curve for me. So, but just to get to the answer to your question is, don't have things set in one way. Be open, be fluid, be ready to do things differently, you know? and just, if you're open, you'll be able to see things differently from the way you see it normally. So that's one thing I can give a little bit of advice and say, for sure, be open and be ready to do things differently.
That's beautiful, because it is a daunting, as excited as one gets, but you got people watching you, and as you said, to be where you are, you came out your comfort zone.
For sure.
A lot of people are not comfortable with coming out the comfort zone. We'll put acting aside, which is your talent. You also do other things.
Yeah.
You actually give back, which I believe at the moment we're in beautiful and changing times of people. I remember when I was growing up, when I first came to this country, it was very rare to see people like me in higher position doing things. And if I did see them, I thought they lived in a whole different village or town or city. I couldn't see them. So for you, as you said, you've done this amazing film, cinemas across the country sold out, and you give back, you go back to schools and places and then they see you, like, oh, we saw him on TV and we're actually seeing him here. How important is that for you giving back and for them hearing from you?
I feel like it's something that I owe the world, if that makes sense. Like, I owe the young boys and girls that growing up in situations that I grew up in. I feel like I owe it to them almost, you know? Like, for me, I'm just me. But I understand that to them, oh, that's the guy in Blue Story, the actor in Blue Story, kind of, you know, they saw me on Netflix or they saw me in the cinema, do you know what I mean? So I get it. So I get that I can have an impression on them. And so when I have the opportunity to speak to young people, I always let them know, like, listen, I ain't nothing special. I didn't come from a golden house and, you know, silver spoons and all that. I never had that. I was just like you lot, basically. And I try not to patronize and, you know, because when you say to people, oh yeah, it's just like, yeah, stop it. Do you know what I mean? You're there on Netflix, you know, I saw you in the cinema. They think that you're just like in a different like universe. I'm like, nah, I'm like, yo, I'm just from where you lot are from. Do you know what I mean? And like, what I can tell you is like, I just wanted to do something different. That's where it started. Wanting to do something different from what is the usual stereotype. Do you know what I mean? And that's where it starts. So I try to just give them that boost. Want to do something different first. If you want to do something different, then you can make steps of how you're going to do that thing differently. You know what I mean? But if you're comfortable in that environment, and you know, yeah, when it ends, chilling with the man, them, chilling on the block, just, you know, not doing nothing, never doing your work at school, never doing nothing outside of school to boost yourself. You're just coasting along. Yeah, it's going to be hard for you to live a better life. Do you know what I mean? That's what I tell them. And I just try to, you know, because they always say to me, how did you get into acting and all the rest of it? And like, I never want to tell or glamorize like the things that I used to be into. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to talk about that type of stuff. I just want to tell them positive things about how they can chase their own dream. Whatever the dream is, it's just about having that will to want to and not being afraid. There's, you know, there's a lot of fear in human beings, you know, it's natural for us, but that fear can hold us back from great things. Do you know what I mean? So like, and I always, I use Blue Story as an example for them. Listen, if I was like overtaken by fear before my audition, I'd have flopped my audition, you would never even know who I was. Do you know what I mean? So imagine that. I tell them, imagine that. Imagine you just not even knowing who I am and I just here in front of you now. Who's this guy? But you know me because I was in Blue Story. The reason why I was in Blue Story is because I just had that will to want to do something different. So imagine yourself one day being in front of someone else, telling someone that, hey, I had the will to want to do something different. That's why I'm here. But you got to do it. It's not just words and you got to do it. Just have that in yourself. whatever it is, you know. Sometimes I just say to people, what is it you want to do? And they'll tell me, you know, I want to be an actor too. Do you know what I mean? I always get that. Yeah. Everyone wants to be an actor. When you see an actor, he's like, I want to be an actor too. Like, it's all right, cool.
It's possible.
It's possible. It's not impossible. What kind of things do you do to like bring that dream to reality? And then, you know, they'll be, you know, I'm like, listen, you gotta study acting, you know, watch a lot of stuff, you know, anything that, like, there's loads of things that are like really like close to like YouTube and stuff. You can like, you know, start. Obviously, like everyone thinks, oh, how do I get that audition to be in that big film? You got to start somewhere, you know. So when you start, if the will to do it is there, and the application's there, things will start coming out of the woodwork. You just, because you're going to put yourself in the right places, and putting yourself in those right places, you start to meet the right people and all the rest of it. Even me now, I'm practicing that as a, you know, when I tell people that, I'm still practicing that myself, trying to put myself in the right places to meet the right people, you know, and to create opportunities, you know what I mean? And when I do get those opportunities, going back to what we spoke about earlier, the application, punctuality, being ready, you know what I mean? Like, so, yeah, man, that's my main message to the youths, them, like, you know, just have that will to want to do something different. You know, once you lock it in your brain, I'm going to do something different, it all starts there. That is the start of your dirt road, which will eventually turn into a pavement.
I love that. A dirt road that turns into pavement.
Yeah.
It just...
I just thought of that now, you know.
Yeah,
so,
listen, I love that, honestly.
Yeah.
And it just, for some people, you're not going to see the pavement.
Yeah.
Just by looking over.
Yeah, yeah. For a long
just
while.
Just one step. Just keep going.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Just keep going. You know, at this point now, let me stop and ask any questions from the audience.
I think you guys covered it.
Yeah? Because normally I interview people and then after, one time JB said, I wish you asked this question. So
yeah. What's the dream? What's the dream job?
Ooh.
What is your dream job?
Dream job.
That role.
I want to pin down to any one thing, but the dream is to do roles that like I never saw myself doing before, if that makes sense. So, you know, it's easy to play, I won't say it's easy, but it's easier to play a character from the ends, a character from South East London, or, you know, like an East London boy or whatever. It's easier to play those type of characters. But there's some characters that are quite complex, you know. So the dream is to be able to be good enough to play those characters, for sure. That is like, the first dream is to be able to be good enough. And then to have the opportunity to do it is the dream, you know. So I don't want to lock down to any one character. You know, some people be like, I want to be a superhero. I want to be Luther. I want to be the next. You know what I mean? But I can see myself playing loads of different roles that are different to, like, you know, the generic stereotype kind of roles, basically. Yeah.
How important is it between sets, between movies, between projects, to stay in shape for you as an actor?
Boy, it's something that I've always, I won't say struggle with, but it's something that is always in my brain.
Yeah.
Stay in shape, try and eat well. Do you know what I mean? The eating well bit is still kicking my ass, but...
I need some advice, man. Give me some advice.
Yeah, hey, bro, I'm not even in a position to give you advice, trust me, man. You know what I mean? It's still kicking my ass, but, you know, I try to make sure that I'm, you know, I try to make the best decisions all the time. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Don't drink too much. Don't, you know, I don't smoke anyway, but don't overdo stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, the eating of the sweets and chocolates and all the rest of it, just don't overdo it, and just, you know, get in the gym and try to make myself be the best version of myself. That's what I just tell myself. Yeah. I just try to be the best version of me. Do you know what I mean? I'm not trying to be like that guy with the crazy 12-pack and the man arms and the I ain't trying to be like that. I'm just trying to be the best version of myself. Do you know what I mean? That's me, man.
What's coming up? What projects are we expected to see in the near future?
Well, you know, we was on set together, so there's that's something, you know. I'm auditioning at the moment right now as well, so trying to land these roles, man, and trying to get better as well, you know, trying to get better as an actor, you know. JB asks me, like, what do I see myself, what's the dream, do you know what I mean? But first things first is being good enough to be able to do it, not just, I want to get that role and then get in there and not executing the way I should, do you know what I mean? So being good enough is like what's always on my mind, how I'm always working to try and be better. And so when the opportunity does come, I'll be ready to kill it.
Leave us with one tip. What's the one tip you can give them about being, just one?
Shit. When you ask me about tips, it almost it gives the illusion that maybe like I know so much. So
Listen, you know more than a lot of people out there. Oh yes, we say there's still people who know more than you.
Yeah.
But the fact remains, you know more than a lot.
Experience.
You got the experience. You've been there. Yeah. You've been in the trenches.
I feel like we kind of touched on the main thing when I was talking about what I say to like young people when I speak to them, and it's about the will. The will to want to do better is where everything starts. In anything, acting, whatever it is, business, whatever it is you want to do, the will to want to do something different, or the will to be better, is where it starts. So just thinking about it is not good enough. But telling yourself, I'm gonna do this thing. I'm gonna do this. It's just to gas yourself up. That, listen, I don't want to do that anymore. I'm gonna do that. And because people can say that, but they're facing this way. But where you want to be is over there. The first step is and start walking that way. That's my number one tip. That's not even about acting, but just in life, is to first of all face the right way. You can't just say you want to go that way, but you're facing this way. Just face that way first. Start moving that way, in that direction. That is the main thing. It sounds so like generic and very like, I don't know, but trust me, because I've been that guy looking left before, talking about what's over there. Do you know what I mean? On the right. So, and then now I'm the person who's looking right, walking on that road when I was once looking the other way completely. So now I know the importance of first step, looking the way I want to go. So that's the main thing I can give you. That's the best tip. Because that's the kind of that's the stage that I'm at, basically, if that makes sense. I'm not far down the road enough to talk about other stuff that's on that road. I can just tell you that I'm on this bit where I've realized the importance of facing the way that I need to go, basically. So that is the main thing.
That is super powerful, and I understand what you mean.
Yeah, I hope people do understand what I'm saying. I use a lot
of guys talk
and stuff. Yeah,
a lot of guys and girls, they talk.
Yeah,
and as you said, they're facing that way.
Yeah.
Even when you ask them, I'm over here, like, yeah, tomorrow, next year. Yeah. Are you on the dirt of your road, or can you see the pavement?
It's a good question. I'll say I'm still on the dirt road. But I can see that the dirt road that was once just a trail is now a proper dirt path. And then I can see that, hey, at that bend there's some paving. Yeah. Let me keep on going. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's where I'm at. I wouldn't class myself as on the pavement yet. Yeah. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, if he's not on the pavement, I don't think I'm even on the road yet. No, Junior, thank you. It's been powerful. I got a lot from that. How we close it off, that's your camera. Yeah. Look into it. Close it how you want to close it. It's yours.
It was a beautiful interview. Thanks for having me. I hope that anyone watching can just get a little something from what I've said. You know what I mean? As I said before, I'm just on my dirt path. I'm not on the pavement yet, but hopefully you know, you can hear these words from a guy on the dirt path and get a little bit of something. So thanks for having me. Thanks for listening, guys. Peace.
Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. If a guy can conduct himself in a manner which he doesn't even know his power, but he did it the right way. He took the faith and jumped out into the comfort zone and landed to be one of the greatest films within our generation to ever produce in the UK. If he can do that, he went and gassed himself up to be the best version of him, and yet still he feels he's far away from his goal. But in the meantime, he's giving back to the people who never had what he had. Imagine what you can do with whatever you have at your disposal. Thank you for watching. Till next time, guys, love, peace, and happiness. Yes. Junior, thank you, my brother.